My name is Jay Bridgeball. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I went through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show. Lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. I'm here with, obviously, myself, AMIT, and, Dennis Allison, also from the Bridge team. Obviously, this is not Jay Bridgeball. We're doing another round of those awesome question and answers that, Dennis and I have been so fond of doing. Whenever you're on the show, we like to, field the questions that the viewers email in and whatnot. So I guess let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
All right. So first question. Now, this is one that keeps coming up over and over, Dennis. I'll let you kind of put your spin on it. How much does a real estate agent charge? Nobody has any idea. The average consumer has no idea. When they're looking to buy a house, well, how much do you charge? Well, we don't charge anything. So how does it work, Dennis?
Well, it works off of percentages. So if you're looking to, the seller would pay the buyer, right?
Exactly.
So it's a percentage. The max amount usually is about 5%. But with today's market and the competing agents and so forth, on the sale of the house, it's usually negotiated. So you can go down to even, 2%, 1%, half a percent. But that's the thing. A lot of people do that. You find with different agents, depending on what services they give you, they will negotiate their selling. So that being said, there's certain brokerages, I will not name them, but what they do is they say, okay, I will sell your house for $1,000.
Right.
Because they know they're getting the money off the buy, which is for sure going to be 2.5%.
Right.
But the thing is, what clients don't realize is that with that $1,000, you're only getting limited services.
And that's on the sale, so we'll clarify that.
On the sale, yes, on the sale. So yeah, you only get limited services. If you want to put your property on, in newspapers or Facebook and stuff like that. They're not doing any of that.
They're basically just going to put a sign on the lawn and, post the ad on MLS, and that's it. And,
exactly.
Yeah, it's actually funny you mentioned that because there's actually it's extremely difficult even to get the appointments to show the property. So a lot of people, they feel that they're benefiting by only paying that, $1,000 for the sale of their property. But really, in reality, it's detrimental to the sale. Because,
absolutely.
Yeah. What's happening is, buyers aren't able to see the property. You call to make appointments, you don't get through. You call to speak to an agent, you don't even get an agent. You usually get someone that's just far too busy at a front desk that's got 10 million phone calls to deal with, and yours just kind of gets lost in the wayside.
Exactly. So they're not doing the benefit for you as a client. So, and a lot of the times too, if you want to get that extra advertising and other things like that, you would have to pay more. So at the end of the day, it's not justifying. You're just getting caught by saying, hey, $1,000, that's a good price. Anybody would say, hey, $1,000, but then nobody actually asks what's entailed.
Well, the real thing that I think people don't understand is they think the market is going to give you whatever it's going to give you, no matter what. So they actually, a lot of people, they make the miscalculation thinking that, well, an agent really is not going to make any difference. But an agent can actually make the difference between $10,000, $15,000, $25,000 more. So in all reality, kind of worth it to pay that 2.5 or 3 or 5%, whatever the fact is, because maybe that comes up to $14,000, but you just made an extra $25,000.
Exactly.
And that's it's great that we jumped into the selling side of things first, but what's really funny is the average person just comes and says, well, hey, Dennis, I want to buy a home. How much do I pay? You don't pay anything.
You don't pay nothing.
You see, and that's another misconception with the industry. And a lot of times I've heard very funny stories where people take advantage of that, and they'll say, "Oh, sign with me, and I'll like $1,000, whatever. I'll get you the mortgage and all that sort of jazz." So it's an industry where you really need to be educated, and a lot of the information is not even online, so you can't really Google it or anything, because it's kind of a hush thing. Even commissions and percentages. Even if you ever try to Google how much does a real estate agent make on a house, there's no information.
Yeah.
I spent 15 minutes this morning trying to Google it. There was no information on it. So as a consumer trying to figure it out, you'll have no clue.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another thing too that you got to take a look at, and we will actually be jumping into these questions that you sent into us.
Oh.
But another thing you have to look at is what are the right questions when interviewing your real estate agent. And of course, you need to interview whoever you're dealing with. If you get a contractor that comes to your house to fix something, anybody that you're dealing with, get to know what they've done in the past, what credentials they have, and maybe some pictures of their work or anything along those lines.
Right. And I definitely understand where you're coming from with that, because if you contractors for one, that's something that not to go too much off topic, but I've heard so many horror stories of contractors literally running away with all of your money. You give them $5,000 up front or $10,000 up front. The materials get purchased and nothing gets done or something like that, right?
Well, we've had clients that actually they've worked with contractors. Again, I won't name them, but they've bought all the materials and the contractor has done the work, but the contractor took the material at the end of the job that was left over. Didn't leave it with the client for extras.
All the excess.
Yeah, because what if something breaks? Then you have extra, pieces to go with.
Well, that's really the thing. A good contractor is going to make sure you leave excess, flooring and door trims and things like that, because that stuff it's not a matter of if it breaks, it's when it breaks, because all its wear and tear is normal in any home, right? Yeah.
Also, with a contractor, what you want to do too. I don't want to get too out of what we're talking about, but
we're a real off the cuff episode today.
Yeah. So I find with the contractors, make sure you know what their warranty is. So, a lot of people will come in there and say, okay, I'll do this job for you for X amount of dollars, but then they won't come back when you call them. They're going to say, okay, that's going to cost you another $500. Hey, man, a couple months ago,
I just spent,
got you to do the work.
$10,000.
Yeah, so find out everything when it comes to it with your real estate agent, contractors, anywhere you go to. If you're going to pay somebody, find out what the stipulations are.
Well, specifically on real estate, so let's just kind of refocus back on that.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of questions would you even want to ask an agent? One question I always like to tell people, I say, even if it's not going with the bridge team or one of us, ask the agent, how many homes have you sold in the last 6 months?
Exactly.
How many homes did you sell last year?
Exactly.
The funny, the strange fact is, there's roughly 5% of realtors that are doing 95% of the actual business in Ontario, and there's and roughly 65,000 realtors in Ontario. So if you actually do the numbers, it works out to be 1.5 or let's round it up to two sales per year. So do you want the realtor that is doing 2 transactions per year to buy or sell your property? You may think, oh well, yeah, he's going to give me a good deal on it or whatever. I'll charge a lower fee, but they are the ones that are not too savvy on negotiating.
Yes, exactly.
And what's going to happen is, I see it time and time again when I'm speaking to my mortgage agents, and they say, oh, they're just they're too giddy and excited that they got a sale, that they're going in whatever the full price is, no conditions, all this sort of jazz, and they're messing up the sale, and it's detrimental to the client.
Absolutely, they're paying more than they should be paying. When you go in with an experienced person that's been selling a lot of homes, you have to also ask the question as to why. If you are only selling 2 homes, why are you only selling 2 homes? Do you have another job? That means your focus is somewhere else. You know what I mean? A professional will do this full time opposed to the part time.
Well, you actually you brought it to my next question. It's like it's always it's funny, it's always asking, are you a full time realtor or a part time realtor?
Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of times people have a sense of obligation where they're saying, oh, I know this guy, I've known him for many years. But he's maybe an account executive at whatever some company.
Or he's my brother. Or
yeah,
my sister.
brother-in-law or someone like that. So you feel obligated to. But what I always tell people in turn when they say that, and I don't pressure anyone either which way, but I'll say, is that obligation worth $5, $10, or $15,000?
Exactly.
Because obligation is nice if you think you're going to get the same end result, but a lot of times people don't realize they're not getting the same end result.
Exactly. Because if you're a part-time agent, you're not going and picking the brains of other people of what's going on in that area.
You're not in the field every day.
Exactly. So it's better to go with somebody who's more seasoned than going with somebody who's part-time.
Yeah, and not even, and even when you say the word season, it's not even the fact that they've been in the industry for 20 years, because many people are just in the industry for 20 years, still doing only 5 homes a year.
Absolutely.
So it's about the volume of transactions that you're completing on a yearly basis.
Yeah.
If your realtor is doing any less than 30 transactions on a yearly basis, my opinion would be don't work with them.
Yeah.
Really. And that, again, that's usually the general consensus of what most people come to, and that's actually why 95% of the people are not doing any transactions, 5% doing the majority of the business.
Yeah.
But we'll stick a pin in this for now, because we're actually coming close to the break. So I'll just ask our viewers to stay tuned for a few moments, and we'll be back in just a few.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
All right, guys, welcome back to Let's Talk Real Estate here with myself, AMIT and Dennis Allison, also from the Bridge team. We're just jumping into a lot of the questions and answers that people have been asking very frequently. So these are some of the top ones, and this is this is one of my favorite episodes where we just kind of answer questions and go back and forth. So there's one that actually came in from a viewer. It says there seems to be a new trend of painting over existing hardwood. Is that what buyers are looking for now, or what is the case? Now, particularly, I don't too much like it, because it really depends on what type of hardwood it is. If it's the older hardwood and you're staining it, I think that's a good option. But I have seen that in homes, and I think it looks kind of a little tacky.
It looks tacky, yeah. The thing is with the hardwood too is when you're painting over it, it's just putting a Band-Aid over it. You're not actually refinishing it. Like your best bet is to sand it, revarnish it, do the proper work, and it'll last. And honestly, it'll get you your money if you're selling the house.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I actually did it in one of my rental properties, and it was it's very older bungalow in Brampton, Queen and McLaughlin area, and it was very the bright kind of orangey wood color, which was probably all the rage in 1970 or whatever year it was built, but it doesn't really look right nowadays. So basically, I called someone in, and they said, hey, we can actually sand this wood down up to 3 or 4 times because it's so thick, the older hardwood. And so he came in, he sanded everything down, and then he actually restained it.
Yeah.
And it's a bright, rich reddish kind of color. And the difference between staining and paint, as you would know, you've done a lot of you do a lot of hands-on work yourself.
Yes, I do.
Is paint will just wear right off.
Yeah,
The staining it seeps into the wood.
Well, not only that, it brings out the natural colors, and it's really vibrant. So it's really nice to do it like that. Opposed to paint, it looks really cheap.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I wouldn't do that.
Also, it wears down. It just wears right off.
It wears right off. After a while, the wear and tear, and then it's certain areas are rubbed out and such. If it's my opinion, I wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
And actually, sorry to cut you off there, depending on how bad the hardwood is, if it's in really rough shape and you've had it for a long time, sometimes it's easier to remove it and replace it with laminate, because there's some really nice laminate out there.
The engineered laminate that's available right now is, almost a fraction of the cost, and it comes in the same, 9mm and 12mm. So I'd recommend to our viewers, if you're actually, looking to just get rid of your hardwood altogether and looking for a cheaper alternative, go with a decent laminate that's at least 9mm or something in that range, and it's it's solid, it's sturdy, and the best part about it, it doesn't scratch.
Exactly.
Not easily.
Exactly. There's actually some really good engineered ones that are made for if you have pets and stuff like that. So I have a dog, and I've installed it in my house, and I have no scratches.
Really?
Yeah, I have a boxer, by the way, so the nails are pretty long.
Right.
There's no scratches. I'm loving it, and it's very easy. It's just tongue and groove. It just snaps right together. You could do it yourself, really.
I'd rather not, but okay.
Well, you could if you're handy, right? If somebody like yourself, I'll hire somebody, right?
I'll call you anyway.
Yeah, I'll come over.
So on a side note, if anyone's interested, you can just call Dennis, and he can make sure and get your engineered laminate installed right away.
If not, I'll guide you in the right direction.
All right, so it's a full service team we have here, right? It really is. All right, now next question here. This is actually an interesting one. Now, for sellers, is it okay if I restrict viewings or showing times based on my work and life schedule? I say right off the bat, no. What's your opinion on that?
My opinion on that is more, there's certain things you can't help. If you have to work, if you have to, do something at that time, yes, you're not able to do it. But if you can get somebody to be available at your house, or make it available with your realtor or anything like that to show the property, because the more, you got to think about it, it's a numbers game, right?
Yeah. More people in
you
the
got
property.
more people to see the property, and once more people see the property, you got to think about it too. When somebody comes to your house, the agent will leave a card. The more cards they see, they're going to say, hey, this place is going to go for multiple offers. Yeah, exactly.
And the real thing is, specifically with restricting showing times. Now, think of it this way. I'm a seller, and I have multiple people that are trying to book an appointment, but I really like my family time at 6 p.m. I want to have dinner with my family from 6 to 7. That's all well and good, and we know that's your specific family time, but I always tell people, make the exception. Leave the house during that time, and if you get an appointment, just make sure you leave.
Yeah.
And alter your schedule. Go out and take your family to Pizza Hut or something.
Yeah.
Make it a treat, because what's going to happen if you restrict that showing time? In your mind, you're thinking as a seller, oh, okay, that's fine. They'll just rebook at another time. But no, because that's not what's going to happen. Because as the buyer agent now, and I always ask people, put it on a different hat. Don't take off the seller hat, put on the buyer hat. If you're the buyer's agent, what's happening? You're booking 5, 6, 7 properties in a particular time over a 2-hour period, and you're going around to see all of them. If you book 7 and only 5 get confirmed, you're most likely not rescheduling to see those other 2.
No, exactly.
Yeah, it's not happening unless there was very, very specific interest in that particular property, which many realtors will just say, oh, they weren't available. Psh.
Yeah, and they wash your hands of it.
And that's exactly it. So what ends up happening is you restrict your showing times, but then you don't end up getting the right showings. And the rough numbers are about 10 showings equal 1 offer.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if it's a good offer or a bad offer, whatever the fact is. The general numbers game says 10 showings, 1 offer. And if you're getting 20, 30 showings, you got a few offers on the table. That's really what the goal is within a week or two. Get as many people on the property as possible, and then get it sold.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Also too, later showing times are actually a benefit for sellers because that's when people get off of work. That's when they have the time to come see the property. So, and the later showing times, don't rule it out because if it's possible, make it happen. It'll be better for you.
Right. Well, that's good. That's a good advice. And on to the next one here. Now, as a buyer, this is actually a really interesting question because what's happening, it's a new trend now. So I'll explain to some of our viewers. A lot of sellers are actually providing a home inspection prior to listing the property. And I guess we'll explain to our viewers because obviously you and I know, but it speeds up the process because then you don't have to have an inspection clause and a finance clause. So the home is sold and then it's sold right away. There's nothing pending. Now, this viewer specifically is asking, now, should I arrange for a home inspection even if the seller has provided one? And obviously that's a new trend. Sellers are providing a home inspection, which technically saves the buyer $350. And they have a nice long 40-50 page report. Now, what's your opinion on that? You have an inspection already there. Sure, it's great.
Yeah, it's great to have that inspection already done for you, but it depends on you as a person.
I like to do my own.
I like to do my own too because I don't know which guy you got. I don't know if you did this, wrote this up yourself.
Well, here's the thing, and a lot of times they'll provide it with a licensed inspection company and blah blah blah, and whatever the cost, $350. So that saves the buyer that money. But you got to keep in mind one particular thing, that inspector was hired by the seller.
Exactly, which will work in their benefit.
So why would that inspector want to point out a million different flaws in the property because they're technically not liable for anything because they're just doing an inspection for the seller.
Exactly.
The buyer is not paying, so there's no actual contract with the buyer and the inspector. So even if you find something 3 months down the road or whatever the fact is, there's no remedy that you can take. You just basically you're stuck with it.
Yeah.
So I say even if they provide it, which is a nice quick gimmick, it says, oh hey, this one already has an inspection, let's go for this property. Don't even deal with it. No, just go ahead, pay your own inspection. If it's $350 or $400, whatever the fact is, pay your money and get it done. It's something that is so worthwhile. And while we're on that particular topic, I have every single time I do an inspection or I book the inspection, my buyer always asks, do I have to come?
Yeah.
So what's your take on that, Dennis?
It's always in your benefit to come.
It is,
because he's going to point out all the little things to you and explain what needs to be done.
He or she.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
usually it's sorry, not to be but on that note, yes, you should be there because in every home I've been to, everyone I've bought, I've insisted to be there because I want to go through thoroughly, opposed to if he's or she is there on their own, they're just going to kind of go through it quickly like they're standard, right?
Yeah.
What's in standard things. You may see a few things like, okay, what about this? What is this? Why is this broken? Will that affect anything? You know what I mean?
Not even just that, Dennis. Obviously, they're going through the motions, obviously, but these are things that the inspector does every single day, 3, 4, 5 houses in a day. So they rip through it. They know exactly what to look for.
Yes.
Now, as a buyer, you're not obviously you're a trades guy, so you kind of know these things, or you were. But the fact of the matter is, an accountant is not going to know what things to look for.
Yeah.
So what happens is the inspector, or the good ones, they actually insist the buyer is with them throughout every step of the way. Just, come on, follow me, and I'll show you. I'll point these things out. Look at these baseboards. Look at this lighting. Look at this crack on the wall. And then these are things that, down the road, you don't have to discover it 20 years later. It's something that's it's noted. Even if it's not a major issue, which may not even end up in the report, at least it's something that's noted. Then when you say, you know what, I'd like to, get that sorted out down the road.
Yeah.
So I find it very important to, get your own inspection, number one, and be present for the inspection. But,
exactly.
Yeah, but on that note, we actually ran out of time on this particular segment. So I'll ask our viewers again just to bear with us. Take a look at some of these great commercials, and we'll be back in a few moments.
have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity in our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. We're here on segment number 3, and we're just talking specifically about all of the questions and answers that people have that, all of our viewers end up, emailing in or texting or whatnot. So one in particular that I find very interesting is this one here. I won't even read it here. It's basically specifically about what does sold conditional mean and why are properties still available on websites like realtor.ca and home finder and all that jazz. Why are they still available online when the property is technically sold? So Dennis, can you jump into that a little bit?
So excuse me, if a property is sold conditionally means it has conditions on the property, so they've accepted an offer but not fully until the conditions are met, like we were talking about earlier, based on inspection, on finances and things of that
or
nature.
even if it's a condo, it could be status certificate. Yeah.
Exactly. So with realtor.ca and all these different websites, third-party sites, they don't get updated right away like the MLS would, the multiple listing services.
The direct system that the realtors use,
that the realtors use. So we have other programs that we use. For example, I use all the time. It's called Collaborate. So with your agent, you would send the client an email invitation. From there, you accept the email invitation, and you can then scan the MLS like we do.
You browse as an agent.
Agent, exactly. And you see everything in real time. So you will see everything. If it's sold conditionally, it'll say sold conditionally. Opposed to realtor.ca, will just say available, right?
And then, you get all excited. It's happened, countless times. People get super excited about a property, and they send it over to us, and then they, we say, oh, sorry, the property's actually sold. Or it's sold conditional. And there's a lot of people don't really understand what that period of sold conditional is. It could really vary. It could vary from 2 days, 5 days, whatever really it takes to get those conditions waived. So I'll give you an example, Dennis. Yesterday I put an offer on a condo, an investment condo for one of our clients, and it was accepted. So that's great news. We negotiated down slightly, and 440,000. So we negotiated down. It's accepted. Now the buyer is already pre-approved, but the bank said, hey, give me 2 days conditional on finance. And what that really means is, even though they're already pre-approved on in the system, the buyer's mortgage broker, which is this one in particular is at TD Bank, they're just looking at it and saying, listen, I want to make sure everything's all complete. I want to plug in the numbers with this particular condo, with the maintenance fees, and make sure that's all done. So that would typically be anywhere from 1 to 5 days. That was a normal type of financing clause. Now this one in particular also has a status certificate, which many condos do. Well, actually, all condos should have a status certificate. And now with the status certificate, that usually takes a few days to actually get ordered in. So sometimes it could take up to 7 days for the status certificate to actually arrive, depending on how quick the condo board is. And I guess we've explained it a few times to our viewers, but we'll just jump into it very quickly. Now, status certificate is the financial health of the building, and says if there's any lawsuits, if there's any slip and fall injuries, or maybe if it actually takes a look at how much money they have saved.
And the reserve fund, right?
Yeah, the reserve fund, exactly. So a lot of times people will ask, well, what's the point of the reserve fund? Well, that's to make sure that when the windows need to be changed, they can change all the windows, because that's going to cost $300,000.
Exactly, the bricks, the balconies.
Exactly. So those particular things are very important. So back to the review period, or the sold conditional period, that's going to take 3, 4, 5 days for the status certificate to come in. Then you actually give that document over to your lawyer, as you know, and then the lawyer reviews it, and then it says, hey, yay or nay, it's either good or not.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what the sold conditional is. But yeah, we can jump back into the MLS and why it's available or not. Yeah.
Well, sorry, I just wanted to touch on something also, because I have a question that a lot of clients ask me, and it's that because a lot of people, before they go to the agent, what I would do is direct them over to a mortgage broker or somebody along those lines.
Oh, yes, very good,
right?
Yeah.
Now, what you were saying with the sold conditionally, so you get something based on finance. So I get a lot of people, they don't realize that car loans and things like that and outstanding debts really affect you. And like, for example, we had a client got a pre-approval already, and then after the pre-approval, he decided to buy a $40,000 car.
Right.
So now the bank can go in, or the mortgage broker, or whoever, the bank can go in at any time and check. So in that period of getting a mortgage, please don't buy a car or something like that. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So
well, they think it's a very common misconception. It was like, hey, I'm already pre-approved. Cool. Let's go ahead and do whatever we got to do.
Exactly.
The bank reserves the right to rescind that pre-approval at any time. So that's in the fine print. They give you a nice letter. It says, hey, you're pre-approved. Go ahead and buy. But they reserve the right to, and you genuinely could be messing up your credit by doing it. And really, it's not even the fact that you're messing it up. What it is with car payments, and obviously, I worked at the bank for many years. What happens is you have a $500-600 car payment, which it seems fine to you and me, but that's amortized over 5 years. So that's being paid off over 5 years, 6 years, or 7 years. That's the maximum for car loans. Now with a house, even though it's $500,000, $600,000, $700,000, it's amortized over 20, 25, or 30 years. So that's why the payment is only $2,000 a month or $1,500 a month, as opposed to a $500 car payment. So when you think about your $800,000 house is a $2,500 mortgage payment, but your $40,000 vehicle is a $600 payment, that actually takes a huge chunk out of your purchasing power and your what the bank calls it, your debt service ratio. So it's your ability to service that debt and pay for it. So now you have too many monthly bills that are being I guess out of your pocket. And I'll dive into that a little bit deeper, not to be too much on the mortgage side of things, but specifically with the reason why they do car loans on a 5-year, 6-year, 7-year is because that's actually a depreciating asset.
Yes.
So what happens is, after 5 years, you're paying down that car loan. They really want the car value and the amount you're owing to be around the same amount. Because the last thing you want is for you to be owing $30,000 and the car to be worth like $5,000. You're upside down on the property, and that's also the reason why they allow 20 and a 30 and 25-year amortization on a house, because that's an appreciating asset. So if an asset's always appreciating, it's okay if you take a lot longer to actually pay the property off.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm glad you actually mentioned that.
Yeah, I wanted to touch on that because a lot of people were asking me, so I wanted to clarify.
You know what? It's a lot of these things are just things that realtors and even you and I, being in the industry, we forget to ask or even to explain, because it's, we take it the knowledge for granted. But the average person that's doing their regular job, their 9 to 5. They're very focused on, I always use the example of the accountant or the plumber or whatever it is. They're very focused and they're experts on, what sealants to use around the pipes and whatever, but they really have no clue about financial health. And you know, that's something that I specifically really have a problem with, you know, in the school systems and whatnot, but we won't get into that. We won't get into that right now. So either way, on that note, we're actually running out of time on this particular segment. So what I will do is just ask our viewers to stay tuned for a few moments while we take a quick commercial break, and we'll be back for our last segment where we're just going to do a few more question and answers and then jump into the market update.
Perfect.
Have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to this episode of Let's Talk Real Estate. This segment particularly, we're just doing a quick wrap up of question and answers, and then we'll jump into a market update a little bit, you know, later in the segment. So Dennis, you know, we've gone through a lot of things. How much do real estate agents charge? You know, what's the difference with sold conditional? You know, is there any questions you have top of mind that, you know, very much you always find, you know, a buyer or a seller asking us? Even in particular, you know, we have you have someone coming in for assignment sales today, right? So any particular questions that really jump to mind?
Well, you know, I think you should explain a little bit about the assignment sale, to be honest with you.
You know what?
Yeah. That'd be the best, because
right.
It's becoming more common, to be honest.
Well, really what's happening now, assignment sale is actually, it's not even a bona fide sale of a property, because technically you're selling before you actually own it. So let's actually take a few steps back here and paint a picture for our viewers. So you're buying a new construction home. Right now it's 2018. You put your deposit down on the property. It's going to be done in 2021. So, you know, all 3 years go by. You know, the property appreciates in value, as most properties do. And then what happens right before closing? You know, there's maybe you know, 6 months or a year until the closing date. Maybe your circumstances end up changing. Maybe you've got a new job somewhere, you need to move out of the country, or whatever the fact may be. Or maybe you decided, you change your mind, you don't want the property anymore. Now, you can actually sell that property before you even take possession and close it, and, you know, pay all your closing costs and all your fees. And, you know, many people don't even know that they can do that. They think that they're, you know, they have a contractual obligation to purchase the property. So with assignment sales, you're actually going to go ahead and you're just saying, hey, listen, I'm going to sell this contract. I'm going to sell it to you. So I'm selling you the right to purchase the property. So I'm not actually selling the property. I'm just selling you the piece of paper that says, hey, now you can purchase that property. So with the gentleman we have, excuse me, with the gentleman we have coming in today, he is condo on Eglinton and here, Ontario. A few new condos going up in the area. Very, very high demand area, just not too far from Square One. And it is, if he waits till closing, which would probably be about 6 months from now, he would probably get, I'd say, around, you know, $500,000 for this 2-bedroom condo. The fact is, he wants to sell it before, because his circumstances have actually changed. the person he's buying the condo with is actually no longer buying it with him anymore. So they actually don't qualify for the purchase any longer. So they wouldn't actually even be able to close it, even if they wanted to. So now what happens is, they're going to sell, and most likely they're going to end up getting around 450, maybe 460 for the property. And many people say, well, why would anyone do that? Why would you not just close it and then sell it? There's a lot of different things. If it's an investment property, you have tax implications, or in this particular situation, maybe you're not qualified anymore.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of different rules and regulations that kind of can affect you, and that's why an assignment sale can be very, very lucrative. And the fact of the matter is, when you put your deposit down, I believe he actually purchased at $360,000. So
he's making either way.
Regardless, yeah, he's gonna probably walk out of there with about $70,000, and $70,000 over 3 years.
That's not small change.
It's not bad at all, and that's really why we try to focus a lot of our our young people and people with extra income or equity in the house right back to investing. Yeah, I know you have a few yourself. I have a few, and there's no way I could ever have saved that amount of money in the last 5 years.
Exactly.
Based on the equity appreciation.
Exactly.
And granted, the market has been a little bit very, very high over the last 5 years, but even on a very stable market, you're still going to anticipate 4.5%, 5%, 6% growth, and 6% on $500,000. That's, again, like you said, no small change.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Another thing too is what I'm getting onto a different note is I'm getting with a lot of clients that like if you get an approval for maybe it's lower than what you expect, say 400,000 or something along those lines. I have a lot of people that are getting discouraged and they're saying, oh, well, I don't want to move in anything. I want a freehold property.
Yeah.
I'm willing to go a little bit outside of the GTA, but at the end of the day, you have to take in consideration your time is money. So
travel, commute time,
yeah, so at the end of the day, you have to take that in consideration. And also, before you back out, think about what you can afford. Going in the condo is really not as bad as you're thinking because you're actually getting your feet wet.
Yeah.
You live there for a year, maybe 2 years. It's better than renting because renting, you're paying somebody else's mortgage. Buying that condo, you're paying your own mortgage, building equity towards yourself. And then you can just move that as a step up. So you're stepping up from there. When I first started, I started in a condo, went to the townhouse, to the semi, to the detached, and it just went up the ladder. And it's really worth it. When should you buy? Now.
Yeah.
You should have bought 5 years ago, but now is better than buying later because if you wait, you're not going to be able to afford it.
Yeah, and well, and that's really the thing. I always tell people the same thing that you do. I say, sacrifice right now, just get that 1-bedroom place and let it appreciate over a few years instead of renting. And a lot of people there, even a lot of young people now, they just say, oh, well, hey, I'm gonna just rent, forget it. I'll just, I'm getting married. I need space, so I'm gonna spend the $2,000 and rent a place. Because I want the 3 bedrooms. Like you don't need the 3 bedrooms. You want the 3 bedrooms. So it's better just to sacrifice right now. I even have a client right now. We put together a very interesting strategy. So she's actually renting currently, right? So she's renting right now. A very small 1-bedroom place that she's paying around $1,100 on a monthly basis. It actually has 2 bedrooms and she needs 2 separated rooms because they have a small child, right? So basically what they're doing, even though they're renting right now and they're not getting any equity, they realize that their pre-approval amount is actually only about $350,000, and you can't get a ton of there's not a ton of options in the GTA for $350,000.
Yeah, you have to go way out there, right?
Exactly. So instead of going way out there and not getting any appreciation, what we've done is we've actually let her continue to rent right now and pay her $1,100 on a monthly basis. We've qualified her for $350,000. We're getting a small 1-bedroom place because she needs the 2-bedroom, which she has right now. But we're getting a small 1-bedroom, and we're actually renting that place out.
Yeah.
So now she's actually getting a rental income of around $1,600 on a monthly basis. About $300 of that is maintenance, so that's off the bat. But what happens is over 1 year, that property is going to increase by 15, maybe $20,000. Over 2 years, it's going to increase by $30,000, and then at the 3rd year, maybe you may be looking at $45,000 or $50,000. And there is absolutely no way that that particular couple would have been able to save that $50,000 over 3 years. They've said it plainly. So this is a very interesting strategy, and so that's why I tell people there's always a way to work it. You just have to build a long-term strategy.
Absolutely. Actually, I can give you another quick scenario. We have a client that we were working with, and they only had 25,000 to put down. So what happened is we decided to say, okay, let's go to Waterloo because it's not too far.
Right.
And we ended up finding a condo building that's right across the street from the college there.
Right.
And it's actually run by property management. So you're guaranteed for 2 years to
Rental
get $1,400 rental. The place is 1+1, meaning a 1-bedroom plus a den. The maintenance fees are very low. They're $180, but it doesn't include anything. But then in that case, if you're renting the property, you would put those in. Yes, exactly. The water, hydro, and all that.
Put that in the tenant's name.
In the tenant's name, exactly. So the property itself is under $300,000. There, you sit on it for maybe a year or so, because this client also, they already were looking for investment property and have a property already. But I actually had a friend of mine who was looking to do that, and I told him, I said, because he was saying to me, listen, I'm gonna stay at home for a little while and build up my money. I said, why don't you invest into this, because it's very low, and this is something you can afford. When you're ready, you can sell it,
and then you have
or take the equity.
Exactly.
So
you're literally you're building on two fronts. So you're building equity, and you're literally stacking your cash on the other end. So you're going on two fronts, and then you're allowing yourself to move forward in life. Really.
Exactly.
So I think the most important thing about this particular segment is to just hammer it home to our viewers that there's always a strategy. You just have to think a little bit more long term. You're not going to get that white picket fence and lovely house on the first go. It's not 1985. That's just the way it is. So you have to have a little bit more of a strategy in place.
Yeah.
Now on that note, Dennis, we have about a minute and a half left. So I just want to ask you quickly, what's going on with the market?
The market is when it comes to houses, anything over $1 million is really sitting on the market these days. Yeah. But the houses are starting to go steady. I'm actually starting to see some properties, depending the area, going for multiple offers again. Not as much as 100, 200,000 as before, like last year, but we've seen 50,000.
Something like in the 600, 700,000 range.
But right now, I would say it's stable. They're listed at what they need to be listed at.
Yeah, the correct price.
Just a little bit over for negotiation. But the prices right now are starting to stable. It's a really good time to buy in the market now. Condo market is skyrocketing.
It's nuts. It really is.
Skyrocket, because that's what the affordability is. So, realistically, if you can afford, jump in.
Right now, I think I'm working with 5 buyers for condos right now, and that's specifically just because that's where the affordability is. And the best part about this is not one of them is actually going to live in the place. So they're just going to stay at home with parents or whatever the case may be, and they are renting these places out. And all it is just to build equity.
Exactly.
So this is it's such a great strategy, and you just have to kind of wake people up a little bit and show them the hard numbers, and then they can kind of
Yeah, because that's a good way for your parents to give you a hand, opposed to them giving you a big chunk of money. You can put in whatever money you have. Maybe they give you some money, but you're building towards
you're building
moving out of their house, right? So it's a good look for them.
Definitely,
also, right?
If you are able to have that financial support at home, I would say take advantage.
Why not?
of it.
Yeah.
Definitely call one of us and we'll explain it to your to your parents or your family. But on that note, Dennis, we are just about out of time. I want to thank you very much for coming in and helping me out with these Q&As. And I will just ask our viewers to stay tuned for our next episode. We're going to be doing a lot more of this fun stuff here. Absolutely. And I just want to say goodbye. Take care.